is up, y'all? You got another episode of Star Wars Weekly Review. Today, of course, you got your man DadaLorian, yours truly, and below me, I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Star Wars Guide, or you could just call me Aaron.
Yes, Mr. Star Wars Guide. He is the man. Aaron's a good buddy of mine. You see us all the time here on the channel. And today we're going to be looking at a fun article. Did we do this one? 10 cut Star Wars movie scenes that could have changed everything?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I don't think we did. Let's check it out. So this one is from Screen Rant. 10 cut Star Wars movie scenes that could have changed everything. So I've seen this first one here. I think even Star Wars Guide. Star Wars Theory. I don't know why I get you guys' names confused so much. Anyway, Star Wars Theory. I seen he did a video on this that was talking about, in the Return of the Jedi, it showed how Luke, made his green lightsaber. And because back then so many people had questions like in the original trilogy, it was just either a blue lightsaber or a red lightsaber. So in Return of the Jedi, it was always that confusion of like, where did this green one come from? But apparently they had a scene showing how he put the, kyber crystal and all that stuff together, making his new green one, which was really interesting. And then it added other emphasis, to scenes in Return of the Jedi where he ended up putting the lightsaber inside of R2-D2, where, he kind of gives it to him, when he's doing that fight with Jabba. So I thought that would have been, I don't know why they took that out. That would have been cool.
That seems very important of a scene to explain something. And usually, I mean, Disney's good at it too. Dave Filoni's great at it, but George Lucas is really good at telling stories, at least people he had under him as well. Yeah. And for them to cut that scene out, that's something I've always thought, like, why would you do that?
Yeah. I thought it would have been cool, but
yeah.
What the hell? 10 Star Wars changes Lucas almost made that could have changed everything. So, number 10, formation of the Rebel Alliance. In Revenge of the Sith, viewers are finally introduced to Anakin Skywalker's final transition to Darth Vader. Later on, as was known, the Rebel Alliance countered Darth Vader's Imperial forces. However, no film was delved deep into the formation of this alliance. Oh, okay. Oh, so you know what this just makes me think of?
What's up?
Played, why am I forgetting the name? Force Unleashed.
Not all the way through, but yeah, I played it.
But if you've seen any of the story mode, I think that's what they pretty much did in that game. I know it's not necessarily canon, but they had this was later, like, obviously Vader had already come about, but this was kind of like the formation of the Rebel Alliance where you had Mothma, you had Leia, and you had her dad and, other people that were important in the Rebel Alliance. And it was kind of like a kind of declaration of creating that, which we've seen in that game. And as I was looking at this, I was like, oh, that's kind of what they did in Force Unleashed, which I thought was interesting. What I do a lot of the times with like video games, if I don't have the system, I'll just watch all the way through like the story mode, which is still pretty enjoyable. But yeah, that makes me think of that, which I think is pretty interesting.
Oh, definitely.
Take this next one, number 9.
A Scuffle with Greedo. The bounty hunter Greedo is mostly known for the scene in A New Hope when he's shot by Han Solo. A younger Greedo was to be featured in the first prequel film, The Phantom Menace, when an equally young Anakin Skywalker pins him down in a fist fight. Qui-Gon Jinn breaks the fight and advises Anakin to control his temper. Even though Greedo struck him first, the scene would have been an interesting sign of revealing the indignation that Anakin carried with himself all through his life, which finally became evident when he shifted to the dark side. Wow. So yeah, there's an important quote there when Qui-Gon's talking to him, explaining why they fought. And it was Qui-Gon's essentially like, hey, that's his opinion. You just got to accept it. Like, you can't always change someone's mind.
Yep. That's so cool, man. I had no idea about like a younger Greedo. Poor guy couldn't catch a break though. So
no, hell no. He was doomed from the start.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll take number 8. Mourning Han's death. Yes, I did hear about this. I did hear about this one. Luke Skywalker was a close companion to the legendary Han Solo back when they fought together against Darth Vader. But later on, with the passage of time, Skywalker went into a self-imposed exile, while Han and Leia lived in despair as their son Kylo Ren turned towards the darkness. As fate would have it, Kylo ended up killing his own father. I thought that would have been really, I think it would have been even further impactful, to kind of have that. Well, number one, before I even finish what I'm saying with that, I think I love the sequel trilogy for what it is. Let me just say that. The biggest letdown for me personally is not seeing the big three together. No, I'm not talking about wizards, aliens, or robots, as Falcon would say, or Captain America. Okay, the big three that I'm talking about is Han, Luke, and Leia. Like, I think there just would have been something so special, like just I don't know, just some scene with all three of them, reunited. I just thought that would have been really cool, and that's one thing that I would say was a little disappointing about the sequel trilogy. It was like, man, just give us that one thing, and then you can kill everybody else, but just 30 seconds, something, But I think that would have added some interesting stuff, with his character, like, these are his lifelong friends, family, and to know, that Han had passed by the hand of Kylo, just to see him kind of have that moment, I think would have been interesting. What do you think?
I think so too. If they would have touched a bit more on Luke grieving rather than that, like you see the initial punch, the emotional punch that he receives after only seeing Chewie. But if they would have touched a bit more on that, but like I said, many times before, I think the last bit or the last 3 movies are mainly about Kylo and Rey. It's not really about the other characters, and I think that's what some people were getting so pissy about. It's like, well, this is the way that they wanted to tell it. 2 different directors for 3 different movies. I still don't like it, but that's my opinion. I think that if they touched a bit more on things like that, it would have been more enjoyable for people. But since it was more so about, I guess you could say, like, each, how would you say, like a master and apprentice's grandchildren, which for those of you who think they're related, you're not correct at all. They would not, Disney would not say, hey, incest is cool. No. So anyways,
is that thoughts that go around? Did you see comments about that?
Yeah, there's that kissing scene when they finally kissed, and it's supposed to be like this great love story, possibly, and people are like, ew, they're cousins, and I'm like, are you dumb? Vader or Anakin and Palpatine aren't related in any way, shape, or form.
No.
It's like you and me having grandchildren, and then they kiss, and someone's like, hey, they're cousins. Wait a goddamn minute.
Those 2 do videos together. That's not right.
Yeah.
It's just because she carries the last name Skywalker. There's no biological connection, so
it's an adopted name, and people act like that doesn't happen nowadays.
Oh man, if you want to start a war in the comments on TikTok, you know what to do. Just say Rey Skywalker.
People still don't want to wake up.
Man, no, but you had some you had an interesting, point to that for sure. What is this? Mark Hamill's 10 best movies according to. Oh, that's a different.
I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes.
Me either.
I don't. I mean, look at their name. Sorry, but
there was something I seen that I think maybe it was on TikTok where it talked about like the people who kind of work for them and how it's not really a diverse type of setting. So if you have like one specific type of people, rather it be all Black, all Caucasian, and that's, your group of people that, judges these types of movies, then you have a very limited, paradigm in terms of how things are seen and viewed, which I thought was interesting. The same for like, what was it, the Golden Globes and some of these other, elongated shows that we've had where the people who are rating them, there is this lack of diversity, which isn't it's not necessarily fair for the way times are today, which I
Yeah.
totally agree with.
We still can't get past it, and that's what upsets me. It's been
Yeah,
so long. We've got so much time to
yeah,
change things, and they don't want to change.
absolutely, man. I don't know. Did I read the last one or did you?
Uh, I think I did. So
Okay,
yeah, you can take this one.
I'll read this one. A conversation with Biggs, Darklighter. I remember this guy from New Hope. Yeah. In New Hope, Luke is introduced as a bored youth in Tatooine who wants to get out of this desert planet. The first act was to include a conversation between him and his friend Biggs, Darklighter. The latter is on leave from the Imperial Academy, where he's training to become a pilot. Darklighter, however, reveals his true intentions, saying that he wishes to defy the Empire and join the rebellion instead. It could have been an interesting scene in the final cut, as it gives the viewers some clues about the turbulent political situation in the film's time period, as well as Luke's naivety. He just wants to get off the planet and lacks political motivations. Um, I agree, yes and no on that one, because I see a Luke in two different terms. Uh, I mean, any kid is going to be pretty bored if you're a moisture farmer and you're a teenager, and that's just small town. Everybody knows everybody, but you hear of these great things that are happening in the galaxy. Any kid is going to be like, yeah, of course I want to leave. And plus
Yep.
he was whiny boy Luke at the time, but still, I think there's something in us that can relate with that. Like, yeah, we all crave that adventure, that part of the hero's journey early on. Uh,
Hmm.
in terms of character development, would have been interesting? Yeah, because we end up seeing this guy again later, and I'm like, well, I always thought that was funny. Like, wait, how did he get here from there? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because we end up seeing him fighting with the rebels later on in the film, so to kind of have some continuity, I guess, with their friendship and kind of seeing like, hey, what do these kids do on Tatooine? That would have added, something interesting. But overall, I think that scene worked out fairly well. I don't have a problem with
definitely.
it.
Oh,
All
for
right.
sure.
Take number 6, man.
Chewbacca gets violent. And this, I honestly wish that they would implement more. You get to see it in Solo,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm sure I'm missing some other places where you get to see it, but you always hear about a Wookiee that gets upset, just rips your arms off, and you actually get to see it in Solo, but it's not really, it's more so talked about than shown.
Yeah.
But in A New Hope, Ponda Baba is an Aquilish thug whose arm gets sliced off by Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber. The original scene has a feature a beheading instead. The scene would have obviously been pretty graphic, considering the family-friendly nature of the franchise. Similarly, in The Force Awakens, a scene was to feature Chewbacca brutally ripping off Unkar Plute's arm. The Wookiee loses his cool at the junk dealer when the latter threatens Rey. Even though Plute appears as a CGI creature, his separated arm was physical and could have been frightening for some young viewers.
Wow.
Um, I honestly think that Star Wars should be split. You should have like the safe for kids side of Star Wars,
Yeah.
and the hey, this is adults only, not like sexual stuff, but what I'm
Right.
saying, like violent and
Yeah.
more gruesome, maybe more darker. Because of course I still love Star Wars. You and I enjoy the hell out of it, but we want
Yeah.
to see more than just, oh hey, let me hold back on shooting this person in the face or ripping
Yeah.
their arms off, things like that. That's at least my personal opinion, what I'd like to see more.
Yeah. No, I agree. I almost wonder, as you were saying that, it made me think like, could because here's another thing that's happening. There's so much in terms of like fan films. Like, fans, we get to create what we want, which is insane these days. I mean, I've seen some stuff where I'm like, this is fan made. Are you kidding me? This is crazy.
Uh-huh.
So it's awesome that we live in a world now with the technology that we get to create a lot of the stuff that we want to see. But aside from that, with the world kind of changing now and sort of getting into this normality of things. Because I don't know about your state, but here in Denver, in terms of like the mask mandate, that's been relieved if you've been fully vaccinated. So if you've been fully vaccinated, there's a lot of places you don't have to wear a mask. You're good to go. Now with that, as I'm talking about that, it's like, theaters are opening back up. A lot of stuff is opening back up. Pollution is back, all these different things. So with that, when we think of other theatrical releases, like, hey, on the movie side of things, theatrically, we're going to be getting, obviously more Star Wars movies, but then we still have Disney Plus. And it makes me question the future of all of this. Because if things do go back to, a sense of normality where, like, hey, as moviegoers, we're going to the movies as typical to go see big releases. I'm talking like Endgame, Marvel stuff, Star Wars. We want to go to the theaters and see those things and enjoy that experience. So for that side of things, it's almost like a family shared experience. Could the Disney Plus side of things serve more of that personalized experience for older viewers? What do you think? That's kind of a question I was thinking of, like, because things are going to change, things are opening back up. So how are they going to balance that? When, like, I mean, for me, yeah, I love having the disposal, being able to watch things from my home, but there's still something about that experience of being in theaters for those big releases. So that makes me think, like what you were saying, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I've lost my touch with being a fan of going to the movies personally.
Really?
I've started to have so many annoying experiences there. Like I'm not perfect. I used to be a talker. Like I'd
Yeah.
see that and like, oh, that's cool. Or like,
Yeah.
obviously I'm not yelling, but I'm loud enough and you're just supposed to be quiet. But
Yeah.
obviously I've gotten past that. But I've had experiences where people, they pay. Okay, hold on. They consciously make the decision, I'm gonna go to the movie theater.
Yeah.
They wait in line. They buy the ticket. They buy their snacks. And what the f do? They sit on their phones instead of
Yeah.
watching the goddamn movie.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
just, oh my god, that was the last time I was ever there. But not only that, but of course, people being hella loud. Now
Yeah.
kids, I understand kids are going to be like that. I have no like
It's the adults you're talking about. Yeah.
the adults that are acting like children when they're going there. So for me, I'm not really a movie person when it comes to going to theater. But
Gotcha.
um I think if they had a dual, I guess like a dual setup or dual operation where it's like, hey, if you want to go to the theaters, it's here, but if you want to buy it, it's on Disney Plus. And
Yeah.
then eventually they'll make it free on Disney Plus because they already, make so much money off of that. So
Yeah.
that's at least my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But for theaters, I plan on making my own home theater. So then it's like,
Yeah.
it's my place.
Yeah. And you bring up an interesting point too, man, because I already feel like before the pandemic had started, theaters were already kind of in this struggle bus, of things. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys remember, Movie Pass. Remember that thing years ago? We used to have it. We used to have Movie Pass, and it was great. And I mean, I can't even count how many movies we seen with Movie Pass. It didn't make sense how that deal was legitimate. That's probably why it doesn't exist anymore. But
Yeah.
it served its purpose. It got people back into the movies, back into the theaters, which I thought was fun and enjoyable at the time. But then you have something like Disney Plus, you have Netflix, all these things where you can cater your own experience, which seems to kind of be the future of things. So I guess it kind of makes me question, like, hey, what's going to happen with theaters and these theatrical releases? But I guess we'll find
Yeah.
out. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'll take number 5. Corsella's interaction with Leia. In her fight against the First Order, Leia Organa instructs a young rebel named Corsella to go to the Senate and ask the Republic to take swift action against the First Order. Even though Sella is reluctant and doubts if the Senate would actually listen, she still manages to go to the Senate. The final cut then tells viewers how the Star Killer base burns up the Republic capital and everyone along with it, including Corsella. The deleted scene provides a tragic backstory behind the casualties, and maybe her death could have been avoided if Leia didn't insist that much. Maybe this scene would have shown how Leia, much like Luke, carried the guilt of the unfortunate loss of several innocent lives. Interesting. It's kind of up in the air. Some scenes I'm like, yeah, man. But I think if folks, and I seen there was a video that Darth Chaco had talked about yesterday, which I thought was really cool, where it was kind of talking in the sense of not the expanded universe of Star Wars, but there are these expanded parts of Star Wars canon that give you more information. So such as certain video games, books, shows, animated series that are still a part of the canon narrative where you can still gather information. And I feel like, what was it? Was it Bloodline? I can't remember. There was a book about Leia that kind of talks about, a little bit of her past. And once the galaxy found out who her true dad was, she and her marriage got crazy. And, so there's all these other narratives that kind of play into that if you want to know more about, certain characters. And I feel like in this case, specifically for Leia, I think of like books that kind of dive into that, a little bit more. So certain scenes, I'm just like,
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, take this one.
Yoda reaching Dagobah. Yoda was first introduced to viewers in The Empire Strikes Back, where he's shown to be dwelling in solitude on a planet known as Dagobah. A deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith shows Yoda bidding, I don't know how to say that, whatever, adieu to Obi-Wan and Bail Organa, going into hiding at Dagobah. It's a short scene, but would have fit well with the movie's narrative, as its third act was providing closure for all major characters, directly connecting the prequels to the original trilogy. I find it as like a dual-edged sword.
Yeah.
Sometimes like the little bits that we want to see in the movies are implemented in shows, or they are like spin-offs or like a different movie, things like that. Like now we're seeing Kanan Jarrus or Caleb Doom. We're seeing more of his story brought out through the Bad Batch, and now his memories are making sense. And now all you have to do is piece one part of Rebels when he's talking about, hey, this is what happened, this is my life story, and then now you could piece it together with the Bad Batch, and then it it makes sense. But also on the other end, I understand movies have a certain amount of budget. They can't blow $1 billion like it's nothing. But I think if they were to go with the route of like Marvel's route, where they would make, I think Endgame's like 3 hours, something like that. If they were to do that, they would be able to tell every little bit of the story that they want. And then, fans, whether they sit down for 3 hours or they sit down for an hour, little break, another hour, I can sit down, I could watch Endgame over and over again. But, at least almost all the information is there. So, I don't know. But then again, it is fun to find out different things in different shows. That's what I found. It's like egg hunting, I guess.
And you add a good point to that too, where it's like in the shows, you kind of get a little more time. I think maybe you even said that, where again, in a movie, you only have so much time, so many hours where you're telling this story, and there's only so much that you can fit into that. So yeah, I agree, man. The series, they do a better emphasis of, kind of fleshing out things that you can't always do in a feature film. So I agree with that, man. Number 3, constructing a new lightsaber. Didn't we already talk about this? Return of the Jedi was to open with more background on Luke Skywalker's new lightsaber, as he lost his older one with his hand in the previous film. He builds his new green lightsaber that he inserts in a secret compartment in R2-D2's W. We talked about that. I still think it would have been really cool to see it, though. That would have been awesome.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And then what is this? Lightsaber duels involving more than 2 people. Oh, wow. Oh, this is that's something else.
Oh, related.
They have like articles within the article. Like, what is this? Go ahead and take number 2.
Telling Luke the truth about his father. Now, I'm not one, like, I can keep a secret, of course, but I'm not one to just lie and spin the story to someone's face. Like, this is clearly important to Luke.
Yeah,
Why in the hell are you going to sit and, like, spin it?
yeah,
Just tell them the truth. Be like, hey, look, kid, this is how it is.
yeah.
We're going to try and help you, mess up his day as much as you possibly can. But, like, hey, this isn't like a pretty picture. It's not a perfect family like you think.
Yeah.
But anyways, an archival laserdisc edition of Return of the Jedi, complete with I can't English today, deleted scenes and outtakes, shows that it was Yoda who told Obi-Wan Kenobi to not reveal the truth to Luke. The truth in this case is the fact that Darth Vader was Luke's father. This clears up a lot of doubts, as many fans were dubious as to why Obi-Wan never told Luke the truth in the first place. The deleted footage shows Obi-Wan's reference for Yoda and Yoda's questionable decisions.
Interesting. Huh. You know, yeah, I feel like I'm on two sides of it, which, like, would have been kind of interesting, but at the same time, I put myself in Luke's shoes. Like, if they would have just came out and told me, like, I don't know, for instance, like, Hitler is your dad. What? I don't, and knowing everything that he's done, up at that point, all the people that he's killed and all the destruction, it would make you question things about yourself. It would make you question, like, I don't know. You might feel a little lost in terms of, like, what to do next. If you found out, like, that monstrosity is my father, and I think maybe it's a narrative where they're kind of playing on the hero's journey. He, I think, needed to build up certain things within himself early on, because I think if they would have told him that, prematurely, how would that have affected him psychologically? As there were still things, I feel like Luke kind of needed to learn and go through, where he was, he's always kind of been kind of ruthless, kind of, quick to decide on things, and maybe not always thinking things through early on,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like maybe if he would have found that out again, like, prematurely, how would that have affected him psychologically in terms of his development? I guess is a
Yeah.
question. What do you think?
Like I said, I understand what you're saying. Like, if they told him that his dad was, Hitler, essentially, it's like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like, this is scary.
Right.
I don't want to go up against this guy. I'm gonna die in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But then again, if they would have told him, like, hey, this is who he is, this is what he's been struggling with. Essentially, you have to go and free your father because he's been a slave for so long, all of his life. I would have still felt better if they would have told me ahead of time. If I, went all the way to the palace or whatever it may be, and there was a battle that ensued, and then at that moment, right when I could have been killed by him, he's like, hey, by the way, I'm your dad. I would have held so much resentment to Yoda, or against Yoda and against Obi-Wan, just for, like, why didn't you tell me this? Was it that hard? You spun it in so many different ways.
Yeah. No, I get that for sure. Yeah, I guess the transparency, like, if you're gonna go through all of that, might as well just put it all out on the table, kind of a thing. I get that.
Yeah, don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Looks like our last one is Han Solo crashes a TIE fighter. So
Ooh.
the spin-off film Solo might not be the most memorable Star Wars film. What did I do?
Oh, they just bring you down or up to another ad.
Oh, I see. I was like, what?
Oh, man, what the hell? We're on a totally different page now.
Yeah, that's the power of editing, though.
Yeah.
Where did it go?
I think you went to your old saves somewhere in there in the corner, and then it was another.
Oh, okay,
there we go.
I found it. We're good. I was like, what the heck, man? Okay, I'll start this over. So the spin-off film Solo might not be the most memorable Star Wars film, but a major deleted scene released on Blu-ray offered an interesting snippet behind Han Solo's history with the Imperial Academy. Proficient in his flying skills, he started out at the Academy as a pilot but he defies orders to jettison and ends up crashing his TIE fighter. He receives an eye wound and is court-martialed under Commodore Almudin. The scene shows Han Solo's usual brashness and explains why he's assigned to the infantry of Mimban. Yeah, I think that would have just added, further emphasis of early moments with Solo during that time period, because I know he was, in the Imperial, military during the time, in his early years, which I think was just cool. It was interesting to see that in terms of his development. They said something here, it might not be the most memorable. I don't agree with that. I enjoyed Solo. I personally think the problem, I can't, speak for everyone. I think it's the timing of when it came out, because you had what came out before Solo. Wasn't it like The Last Jedi? I think The Last Jedi came
something like that. The timing wasn't the best.
Let me look it up. What came out? What Star Wars movie came out before Solo? I'm trying to remember.
Or you can look up the order, like the order of the movies, and that should tell you like what order they are. I don't know. That's a good question.
Let's look. I wonder if this will. Rogue One.
So Rogue One came out before it because it's 2016, and Solo came out after. But the problem was that Rogue One leads up to A New Hope, and I guess Solo is in between that as well.
Yeah, I guess so. Huh. So it was Rogue One and then Solo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Because Force Awakens. Wait. Force Awakens was 2015. Yeah, Solo was 20.
Oh. Yeah, so the order was all it was all jacked up because you have the Force Awakens, Rogue One, and then Solo.
Yeah. And The Last Jedi was 2017.
That's in between that too. God damn.
I think at the time, I remember there being some mixed feelings about Rogue One, but then I remember most of the fandom still liking it, not having a big deal with it. I still feel like the timing for Solo, probably, I'm trying to remember what the hell came out around that time. Oh, I think it was a Marvel film. So I think we had Infinity War. That's what it was. Yes, that's what it was. So Infinity War came out literally at the same time, same year, probably maybe even like a week before, or maybe like, I can't remember if it was the same week, but they were out like at the same time. I remember that because we were living in California at the time, and we went to there was like a theater in Garden Grove, and we seen them both back to back. So I'm pretty sure Infinity War was out. Yeah, it came out before Solo, but I feel like with something so big and something like that at the same time, yeah, I feel like that was kind of a little bit of a challenge for the film. But overall, I still enjoyed it. I think going into Solo, it was one of those things of like, it's a heist movie. It's a Star Wars heist movie. And that's literally Han Solo. You know what I mean? If you're going with that mentality, I feel like you're definitely going to enjoy it. You know what I mean? What did you think about Solo?
I gave it another chance. I watched it once at one like couple years ago, and I was like, I'm sorry, I made it like halfway through. I was like, I'm not interested in this. I was like, this just isn't. I mean, for those of you watching, if you care, I don't care who you love. It could be Jar Jar Binks. I don't care. But for a character I'm not interested in, I'm not really. I don't care. But I watched it again and I was like, it's not bad. I would rate it, like, for me personally, a 7 out of 10.
That's not bad.
It's not terrible, but it's not amazing. But if they came out with the movie, if they came out with the movie Lando, I would not watch it. I'm sorry, I'm not interested in him. But if they came out with the movie Vader, a lot of people would love it. Even Luke Skywalker or Qui-Gon, Qui-Gon probably, if they switch this out with Qui-Gon, their sales would have been probably through the roof. So everyone wants more of him.
Yeah, no, I can respect that for sure, man. But yeah, what an interesting. I like Screen Rant. They have some pretty fun articles in terms of like some of these little facts. So 10 cut Star Wars movie scenes. Um,
Yes.
I don't think this would have changed too much for Solo. Having that scene out because they still play on that narrative anyway, where you see him during that time when he's a part of the Empire and then
Hmm.
eventually leaves. But yeah, this was fun, man. Guys, thank you so much for watching our video today. Me and Star Wars Guy, we love doing these videos and looking over different topics and different articles. If there's videos or articles that you guys want us to read over and go through and react to, or different videos, be sure to comment below and let us know, because we love to. It's all about the interaction. I feel like, especially like on the TikTok platform where we're both at, and on YouTube, but I'm mainly talking about TikTok. uh, the platform there, it's such a community based thing where the interaction is so direct, and that's one thing that I love, and that I'm pushing to set up more here on the YouTube platform. So yeah, if there's questions or videos, stuff, anything you guys want us to react to, comment below and let us know. Be sure to follow both myself and Star Wars Guide on TikTok. You can check us out there. We both post quite a bit and go live on there, so come and hang out with us there. And this Friday, we're going to be having our Bad Batch group once again. I think I've seen a preview for this next episode. Have you seen that, Guide?
No, I usually like to be surprised.
Okay,
So I don't
okay.
I don't know what Friday's about.
I'll be quiet. But it looks like we're gonna have some fun on Friday, which we do all the time with our group. So come hang out with us on Friday, you guys. Much love. Thank you for tuning in. Again, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.
Bye-bye.